It's morphing time. Review time. I would be a really bad person when it came to look. I can't put the key in the morph, I have to watch and the bad guys are attacking. So yeah, this is the Power Rangers Super Megaforce, and the light is my eyes review. No, this is the Super Megaforce episode 5 review, and basically a samurai tribute. First of all, this episode was written by Jason Smith. It opens up saying that the bad guys are basically, they're kind of annoyed. They're like, I really want to beat the Rangers, I really want to get rid of them, but no, we're not, because they can't. But yeah, again, they have a huge armada of people that they could just overrun the earth and tire them out, which I would have done if I was a bad guy in the Power Rangers universe. Make them tired, they can't fight, there we go, kidnap them, and yeah, you know, you get the rest. So it opens up with the bad guys, they're talking, and the prince, I can't pronounce his name, we're going to call him Prince, that's what we're going to do, and he is saying that, you know, he wants to destroy the Rangers. He makes a kind of a joke. He's like, how many Rangers does it take? And the guy said, Argus, he turns around and says, well, you have 5 Rangers, and it's like, no, that's just a joke, I was being facetious and stuff like that, and moves on to the next part, which is kind of cool. Jake and Noah are kind of talking, and they're coming out of the shop after they've been grocery shopping, and they're kind of like talking, and suddenly Jake sees a bike. Now I know that Jake's now a vehicle guy, because he turns around and you had the SPD car. He's like, oh my god, an SPD car! And then he sees the bike, he's like, oh my god, a bike, and starts talking about the bike. And what I giggled is, this is filmmaking 101. If you have something as a logo and you want to get rid of it, all you have to do is put tape over it. You can possibly have the first few names, put a piece of tape over it, you're done. It was a Harley Davidson, and I kind of like the fact that they put that small bit of tape there so they couldn't get sued, or they couldn't product endorsement, or have to pay Harley Davidson some money. So that was kind of cool, and basically Jake's going all crazy, and he meets Mentor from the Power Rangers Samurai, and I like this. I thought this is having like kind of a 2-bit camo. But I kind of see it where they brought it in from Shinkenger, when they had the episode with Joe and meeting the Shinken Princess. They had their mentor, I think, and then they had the Shinken Princess. So he's like saying like, oh, this is my bike. Now, what I would have done in this is, rather than saying, excuse me, when Jake's like, oh my god, it's got like, it should have like twin throttle and stuff like that, I kind of thought it was more, he would say like, yeah, it's got twin, you know, injection ports or whatever, and it can be super fast, rather than just turning around and saying, excuse me, like saying, get the hell off my bike, son, cause that ain't yours and you can't have this. Why I did that? You have this, and then after a while Noah's it's like, oh my god, it's you, and then, but he's like kind of driven off, and Noah shows Jake exactly what Samurai is. He says like, that's Mentor, is it Mentor G or Mentor J or something, or Mentor M, I don't know, but he shows like Mentor driving off, and he's like, look, this is what he's done, and Jake goes, oh my god, that's Mentor from the Power Rangers Samurai. I would have just said Samurai Rangers, because that would be easier, because then you wouldn't have that if someone was overhearing or eavesdropping. So Mentor drives off in the back and he's like, yeah, what fun. And so they're kind of excited about that, which I kind of liked. So they're kind of knowing the people. So Noah's kind of, rather than the previous episode where he doesn't know anything about anything, and now he's knowing this. So it looks like he is doing his research, and it'd be kind of cool he has that thing ready, just in case that situation is just like, just in case there is a Ranger coming down or anything, I have this in my hand for Mentor straight away, so I know this and I can be clever. So that's how I always see it. And it's just like, I kind of laughed. It's like, that bike was purposely put there. Rather than being like kind of onto the side or them bumping in, it was purposely put in front of the store so they could see it at least, and that kind of made me giggle. Footage of showing like a flashback, which is kind of cool because they have the footage already, so why not use it? One thing when it comes into the intro, the only thing, and I don't know why they've not changed it, it just seems to be really lazy, is the fact that it's called Megaforce and it's not Super Megaforce, and I'll be annoyed if they put it in at the very midway or near the end, Super Megaforce, and it's just like, if you can't be bothered designing or adding in the Super Megaforce to your intro, then you need to fire that person and be like, this has changed, this is not Megaforce, this is Super Megaforce. Because can you imagine if it was Dino Charge? Dino Charge, power up, Power Rangers, Super Megaforce. It's like, what? Because they couldn't be bothered, and I hope they change the music. Dino Charge, and the same sort of Power Rangers thing all the time, because it's a bit boring now. Change it! The Elite Guard and a ship docks to the to Prince's ship, and they think they're under attack. And you'd kind of think that there'd be other ships right now turning around and going boom, 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 we're going to destroy stuff. And yeah, but no, docks, and he takes out the guards. Now you kind of think that because he's an elite guard called Megacore, or Madakar, I'm going to call him a Madakar because that's apparently what he is, that's how I heard it and stuff like that. He's like attacking the X-Borgs, and you kind of think, why? You're all on the same side. You don't need to attack people. You don't need to be like, what the hell? Let's kick the crap out of them. See that the bad guy is giving him a kick up the arse, kind of like saying like he's arrived, and he's like, look, you need to kind of do this, otherwise it's going to be kind of meh. Let's just say that, you know, it needs to be that they need to carry on, and you know the series is going to end soon. So, but the prince is like, okay, well, we're going to go down, and they made another joke. Okay, well, let's get going. He's like, what? And Madakar goes, what? To Earth? And the guy says, no, to Mars. And it's like, you wouldn't be like, it's like, I'm taking over the Earth, I'm going to attack the Earth, and we're going to go to the Earth, not go on a picnic. And Madakar's like, well, I want to go to Mars, 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 Mars. So maybe Madakar could live on Mars, and after he's retired or been destroyed, his spirit could live there, I think. So they start talking about little places, and yeah, so it's to Earth, and thus therefore the Armada happens. They arrive on Earth, and they're like, boom, bad guys now arrive on Earth, and they come in forces, and it's quite nice because when the Rangers turn up, it kind of felt like they were giving sass to them, and it's just like saying, hey, guess what? You know, we're here, you know, we expected something bigger and better, you know, something more cooler, and Troy's more like the schoolyard bully in this. I kind of liked it. He's like, yeah, what up guys type thing, so it's like, you know, just talking to the others, and they start having banter a bit, and then they instantly morph. Now, again, they're using more American footage, and they have the suits for the bad guys. They have everything there to actually, you know, kind of create this sort of thing. Now, one thing that's annoying me is the fact they're just going straight to Megaforce. You have this thing, you have the technology to morph straight to super mode. You've seen it in previous episodes. It just seems to be a pointless waste. But from an editing side, I kind of see that they're going to have something like kind of filling the gaps, because if they don't have that much American footage, then they need to kind of fill the gap a bit. So I kind of see that a little bit. So, yeah. So more American fights, which is good, and then they go straight to pirate mode, or say they instantly go to super mega mode, and it just seems like when they cut straight to the footage, they haven't really paid attention to the area, should I say. You know, it seems to look similar, but it just seems out of place. But then again, it's hard to find the same locations if you're not in the same country. But I think that they could kind of talent scout, should I say, or location scout a bit more, like they did back in the day. So it's like, come on, you know, find something very similar, like they did in Dino Thunder, when they would have that building, like in Toei and stuff like that, when they'd have this huge round building. They found something very similar. So I don't know if they're kind of restricted to certain areas that they can film, or if they're not allowed to film anymore. But it would be nice if they kind of had everything in this very similar spot, should we say, rather than just man, you're in a warehouse district, that kind of looks like it, we're just going to leave it around. So that's how I kind of think about it in a way. They start using different powers, they start fighting, and they use the Mighty Morphing powers to begin with. Now this is kind of cool because you're seeing, again, the Yellow Ranger with a skirt now, and obviously that was due to Gokaiger and stuff like that, with females and all that. It was really nice. It was nice to see these suits being used straight away. And when they started fighting, they started like using like Power Axe, Power Bow. And one thing I could turn around and say that I didn't like is the fact that when the Red Ranger doesn't go Power Sword, he starts fighting, and he's just more kind of like, you know, just fighting it and just going, I have my sword. But where the others were like, you know, Power Bow, Power Lance, Power Daggers, Power Bow Axe, Power Axe, that's the one. So they're using like different things, and they get beaten, and I like this. I like the fact that they're being beaten a lot more easily, rather than we're coming in, we're saving the day, we're going to get the job done. It's like, this guy's more powerful than you guys. You are being hit and you're being slashed about, which is kind of good. And they kind of get beaten. Now, again, switching between two different footages because they had to take out Live Man or something, or Bioman or whatever. So they had to change really, going Go-Go Megaforce into Lost Galaxy, which is kind of cool, and something that I don't know, I'm kind of about at the moment, which we'll explain in a bit, is using other Sentai teams. Noah goes off to fight the prince to kind of defeat him, and then you have Argus stepping in, and he's like, no, you can't do that, and he starts fighting, and then they start fighting for a little bit, they get beat, Noah gets beaten, and then Argus uses the Sid attack, which is the whole circle thing, and then slash through the circle, and Noah gets demorphed, and he's like complaining, he's like, come on, you know, you've demorphed me once to Super Megaforce, now you've demorphed me to Megaforce, you know, this guy's strong, and it shows that you've got the attacks which are a lot more powerful and a lot more to it, which I kind of think is really nice. So when he demorphs and stuff, you can see that, you know, Noah's determined, and I like this because it showed that Noah's kind of growing as a character. I've never really liked the character Noah for a long time, but this one I kind of was impressed to see him kind of step up his game and kind of like move on. Going slightly back into that thing, I really liked it when they transformed into super mode and they were going like Super Megaforce Red and etc. And the Prince goes, Super Mega hurry up and destroy them. I thought that was kind of cool. It was like the bad guy was giving a bit of banter towards the Rangers. So that was jumping back to it, and now jumping back to the future parts. This was actually quite interesting because I knew that they were going to show it, but my friend Johnny said that they wouldn't because it's blood. Now, when Noah is in his Megaforce mode, he actually pulls his blaster and he starts shooting. He knocks out the sword from Argus's hand and it goes flying. And he hits the Prince and he starts bleeding. You don't see close-up of the bleeding, or the blood, should I say. You actually see him like holding him going, oh, and then show it to the camera. Now Johnny said that they wouldn't put this in, and I was like, yeah, they will, because it's quite a big thing. Maybe not the close-up, or maybe I said they would do it, but it's kind of cool that they showed this. Now, my gripe about this is that they can show an alien being hurt and, you know, showing blood like that, but when it came to Noah and one of the previous episodes where he gets the sword slashing him, he's like, they can't show anything, they can just show dirt. Now, I don't know if it's because of the colour, they're not allowed to show it, and the bad guy, because it's an alien blood, so it's a different colour, so it doesn't represent blood, but it's still kind of the same thing. So I don't know why they didn't explain this or put this in with Noah, or why they put this in, but I'm kind of glad that they did, because it does show that they're kind of maturing the show ever so slightly in small steps, just to see how it is. And I'm guessing people aren't going to complain that he's like, oh my god, I've hurt myself, oh look at the blood. So it's nicer than everything, and then everyone just disappears up into the sky because the Prince got hurt. Yeah, and the bad guys are winning. They're like, gotta retreat. You know, you could have had Argus going, I'm going to take the Prince away, you carry on fighting. So he's like, no, we all have to go up to the spaceship. Huzzah! We all know that in Power Ranger history, every single season, or mostly every single season, they have a down moment. You know, it's always like, oh, we can't fight anymore, what are we gonna do? Our powers aren't big enough. Now, they're all sitting back in the Ernie's joint, eating yogurt, or Froyo's, whatever they are. I think it's yogurt. If you know what it is, pop it down below in the comments, because I kind of thought it was an ice bar, like a slushie, but no, it's an ice cream place. But if you know what a froyo is, definitely put it. Is it yogurt, or is it ice cream, or is it both? So when you have this sort of thing, is they're talking about saying that they have the power, but they can't they can't have enough power to destroy them. The keys, they can only stay in this mode for a certain amount of time, etc, etc, etc. And then Jaden walks in, and I like this. I like cameos from previous seasons when they come in, or future seasons as well. But from, like, you know, Jaden comes in and he's like, look, you know, guys, you know, you have to get inside the mind of the opponent, you have to do this, you have to do that. And they're all like, holy crap, you're a ranger! And they're like, it's like they've never seen them before, and it's like, you have seen footage and stuff, but I'm guessing it's kind of the thing when you have him in person, and it just seemed nice. It just seemed like they were having fun with this. And Jane's like, you know, here's the disc, you know, you need this. And when they're like, oh my god, then when they do the whole zoom up, like, dum, 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 I kind of giggled because it sounded like it was going, soon. So I kind of thought that was funny. So Jaden gives him a disc, and he's like, oh, I'll have a plain froyo. And I was like, maybe that's just no flavour, like vanilla or something, or maybe it's just no taste, and if so, I might try one of those, because I don't like ice cream that much, but maybe just plain would be kind of cool. So they were like, yeah, the flashback happens, and this is cool because this, in Gokaiger they had the whole thing of when you had the Red Ranger, you had the Red Ranger mask or something. So this kind of showed previous things, so this is kind of bringing it more time. And rather than being too into it, it kind of quickly went, boom, this is what you got, this is what happened with the last battle of the Red Ranger. So I'm thinking that when they do this with other Rangers, they're going to have them exactly the same, and it's going to either show the last battle, or maybe they're in a team or something, and I think this is absolutely cool. I can't wait for Legend War, because can you imagine just, it's going to be like 10 minutes of just all flashbacks in order, and that's kind of cool. So I can't wait for that one. I'm very excited for the next episode and the end of the season. So, but back to the episode review. Jaden does the whole thing, and when they all look back, he does the Batman. He's like, I'm gone. Maybe it's some sort of samurai technique, or he just literally just goes, cheeses it off to one area. It's like, ha ha ha, I'm cheesing it, bye, and then runs off. Maybe, or he just went, smoke pellets, go, and that's it. So Jaden disappears, and then Gia and Emma come in and they're like, oh hey! You know, and he's like, what, didn't you see? And then they get called and they have to run off to fight the battle. Again, there is more American footage and more American fighting. So again, rather than just using Sentai footage, they're using their own and they're coming up with new ideas, which I think is a really cool thing, and I'm always up for more American fighting. Just like the Disney days where you had SPD, Dino Thunder, etc., you have more American fighting. And again, they more straight into Megaforce mode, they have a bit of banter with the bad guys, and they're fighting. And Jake goes against Malagor, or Malgor, whatever. And I like this, it's like more banter between it, you know, they're having like saying, I'm going to defeat you, you're going to defeat me, you know, how dare you, and then they just keep going slashing and fighting and fighting and slashing and stuff like that, which is kind of cool, and I liked it. This is the part where I'm a bit confused on what's going to happen next. So when you have the whole transforming into previous Rangers, because obviously it's that time in the battle where they're all separated and they're going to go fight, you have the Red Ranger turns into Die Ranger, then Operation Overdrive, and then Ninja Storm. And then again, this part was okay, I can understand, because obviously they've used the Die Ranger suits in the past, so that is unlocking it. When it comes to having Sia transforming, she turns into a Ranger that has not been previously used. Now, this is coming in thing, and I'm going to talk about this in another video about editing and stuff like that. Now, I think that they use this to kind of fill the time because they only have 24 minutes and they didn't have enough footage to kind of do it. So she transforms into what they call Power Ranger Blitz. And I'm confused on why that, because I can understand with Die Ranger is very easy because that had the White Ranger, but when it comes to having, like say later on, like even Emma, she transforms into, I think, Bioman or Live Man, and one thing is like, why would you have that? I don't know, because does this mean that they are going to make more toys, or are they bringing stuff back? Bandai is now going to have to make keys for each series, and it's a bit confusing on why they would do it, and I don't understand. So if you kind of know, put your links down below. I kind of have a few things, but I will explain them in another video. I like the transformations. I really like Jake's when he turned into Zeo. It showed that they are spending time doing it, and it looked really quick and very slick. And I might try and adapt that into my videos later on. But I like the whole transformation into other. So they start fighting, again, you know, they are literally beating the crap out of everyone. One thing I like with Emma, and I kind of think this is a nod to fans saying they can do what they like, is when she goes, I bet you didn't see that coming, did you? Bet you didn't see that coming. Now, I thought this was very funny. In Doctor Who, they did this very similar thing. When Matt Smith is regenerating, he says, the rules don't apply to me, or something like that. It's something about rules. And this was a thing to Moffat saying, have it. I can do what I want with this. This is my show. So if I want to change the rules, I can change them in mid-game. Again, I thought this was a nod to the fans saying, I can do what I want with my series. Doesn't matter, although it would make people angry or it'd make people happy. So this was a nice little touch to put into it. Then into the Samurai Rangers, and they all fight, and then they use the power disc that Jaden gave them. So they use the power disc that Jaden gave them, and this is actually really cool to me because it was giving that tribute. So again, they defeat the bad guy with all the power of using the massive big sword thing. I don't know the name, so pop that in the comments below if you know what it is. I can't pronounce it. I just can't. I think it begins with an O or something. And they destroy the Malagor. They turn around and they use the Megazords. Now I like this on a few elements because again, it showed you that they were saying we need to use our most powerful Zord, and the Zord couldn't defeat him because the bad guy's like, I'm gonna block your attacks, you can't do anything. And then literally Jade and Mentor come up and they say like, oh, you know, the Rangers need more help. And I kind of, one thing I would have done is Jade would have gone, do you know what? Yeah, these guys are worthy of our power and I give them my blessing or something like that. And just therefore doing it. It's just like, yeah, these guys, you know, I can see why they've been chosen. And Gozai's like, you can use the power of your swords. Or you can use the power of the Samurai Rangers. It's like, okay, cool. Then they transform using the whole, the Shinkano, Gokai-O or Gokai Shinkano or something. And this is kind of cool. And they defeat him rather easily. And then Jaden and Mentor, they're talking and they're kind of having a banter. Jaden kind of gives us a kind of like, I give you my appreciation, I give you my blessing, whatnot. And you know, Main's like, oh, did you try that playing froyo? He's like, no, bet it's better than Mia's cooking. And I kind of like that they kind of put that into it. It's Samurai came in and it's kind of like Mia was not a good cook, but I like that. I like that kind of jokiness in the series. I keep looking down. This is possibly my favourite scene in the entire series. It just seemed like they were having fun in the Megazord. They were, you know, after the battle, like, you know, when you finish work, you want to go out with your friends, you want to hang about, you want to do whatever you do after work. And you know, it was kind of fun. I like the fact that Gia and Sia, I need to memorize those names, and Emma were like, oh, you know, really wish we could met him, you know, he's really cute. And she's like, and Jake's like, no, how could you say that? How do you know? And she's like, you know, are you jealous? He's like, no. It's like, oh, you're green with envy. Hence thing, you should look at the, one of them was like, you should look on their face, and that kind of made me giggle. It's like, how can you see the look on my face? I have a helmet. So that was kind of my thoughts on the whole Super Megaforce episode. It wasn't as good as the previous ones, but it was still kind of a good episode. I kind of enjoyed it, but I prefer the other series so far. That's kind of my thoughts on it, guys. If you've seen the episode, let me know down below. And also with all the comments, you know, with the Froyos and the samurai sword and stuff like that. So let me know down below. If you like this video, like, favorite, and subscribe. And I shall see you guys next week for the next review of Super Megaforce.